But let's go here to the Detroit Lions. And Kelvin gave his prediction was that the Lions would go into the Super Bowl. And I could not have disagreed more. And I predicted that this would be a bad and off season for the Lions for a lot of reasons, including the schedule, changing coordinators. And I did say to you on Friday that this was the lock. Rob G, did I not say like this game, the Packers and the Lions, this was the lock. The Lions had won 8-0 on the road last year. I just knew with the whole Micah and what was going on that they were going to get a buzzsaw. But this is more about what's going to come forward. That game was just, did they show up? Like I was really, the Lions, they were flat. The Packers jumped on them and then just had to basically cruise. The Lions did not score a touchdown until the final, what was that, final minute? Like they were, what was that?
Yeah, that last little insane catch. It was pointless. I call them pointless points.
Yeah, it just was not there. And but the sticky gloves, I look at those catches, they don't do anything for me.
You and the sticky gloves.
I don't even, Rob G, they don't mean that catch. Everybody looking at that, I don't do anything.
So what's the next iteration and what has to then happen for catches to start looking good again?
Easy, when they don't have gloves on. When they don't have gloves on.
What in the barbaric? They're not going back in time?
Why not?
Because them laces split people's hands open.
No, if you can catch a ball like that with no sticky gloves on, it'll be a different story. But I'm going to tell you, if you're a Lions fan, you should be concerned. And I'm not talking about just one game. This is a precursor. Look at the schedule and what they have coming up. The division is tougher. There's a lot of stuff to look at. Jared Goff, we've seen the show, we've seen the act, and Ben Johnson is now in Chicago, right? And we saw the offense. What did you think of the offensive play calling yesterday?
Oh, absolutely. It was beyond conservative and boring, and you can tell the difference.
And here's the other part.
There's no denying
We talked about this. The offensive line. Hello. Did you see the offensive line? Don't you have two new players on the offensive line? You had one of their long-standing
retired.
Who retired on them like unexpectedly, right?
Yep.
And who did they just lose today? Right? Didn't they just lose another offensive lineman today for the season?
Brother, I forgot I'll get his name. But anyway, go ahead.
But you get my point. Yep. There are just a lot of things here and that I don't like about the Lions going forward. And I really believe, and I know you thought I was just being Rob and going crazy when I said that they're not going to make I'm not the only one. I've seen a couple other analysts out there, which was interesting to me, but I was like one of the first ones, Rob G. I'm going to take credit, but I have seen a few other who have now started to say that they also think the Lions will take a major step back. And yesterday was, to me, was like proof positive. When I watched that and I looked at it, I said, this is what I thought I was going to see, where the offense wasn't going to be the same. What Ben Johnson did with that offense the last few years, I don't think that you could just say it's just the players and without him, it doesn't matter. He didn't get the job in Chicago because it was just the players and nobody thinks what he does matters. And I think that's what you have to be afraid of if you're the Lions and whether or not Jared Goff without him. Because Ben Johnson has helped, as you were just talking about in Minnesota, has helped people turn it around. And the same thing, Jared Goff, I don't know what quarterback he's really going to be or if he's going to be more of the same. And obviously, if you don't have an offensive line to help protect you, you're going to be in trouble.
That's more concerning with Jared Goff because what we're seeing now, the new model of quarterback, you got to be mobile. That's like a standard now. That comes with it. It used to be, wow, an anomaly. This quarterback can run. Now, everybody can run. You want Bowden now, pick Bo Nix, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Even Russell Wilson still has some mobility. Patrick Mahomes can run. I mean, going on and on. Jared Goff is one of the last standing up QBs, traditional 1980s style of quarterback, 90s style of quarterback. So if you don't have an offensive line, that's concerning. However, where I actually look at this is where we looked at it differently. I looked at the Packers and said, That was a top 6 defense when it came to scoring, I believe. That was a top 10 in just about every category defensively. Very young, got really good linebackers. They can get after the quarterback. And they added Micah Parsons. And then also you have, of course, with the young receivers that are growing, coming of age, mixed with Love there, Jordan Love. So to me, I looked at the Packers, and I was like, man, the Packers look like they're about business. The Packers look like they want to win this division and obviously see where they go in the postseason. Now, a couple of things I don't agree with you on. Or not, I won't say agree. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to the division. Because on paper, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know that the Bears are going to be good. I got to see. Also, the Vikings. They went, 14-3? So I absolutely should be taking a step back. Not that they should be terrible, but I don't expect them to be 14-3. So meaning the Lions aren't competing with last year's Vikings. They're not competing with the Bears because we don't know what the Bears are. The Packers, absolutely. I expect them to be a postseason team before any of this happened, and now it looks like they should be for sure. The concern for the Lions is getting back to what they do best, is running the ball, because that creates everything.
Run the ball.
That's the thing that creates everything for them. If they can't run the ball, then they can't get the play action, then they can't get the separation, and that's how they had the fear of the run is what makes every other team struggle with them. So I expect them to be better. Do they have to be as explosive as they were last year, where they were the best offense last year, a top 5 the duration of Ben Johnson? No, but they absolutely can't be that. And I think we saw the worst version of them yesterday. They went to a hostile environment where they had won 4 or 5. They finally, they spent all that time in Detroit. They had turned the tide. They never win in Lambeau. The fact that they could go in Lambeau.
Yeah, but it's not just that they lost. Did you watch how they lost?
100%.
Right. Okay, that's what should be disturbed. Not you could play a good game and lose, and people don't look at it like that. Like, where were they for the opening game? And in a big game, your offense is vanilla. You can't run the ball. Jared Goff, it turns into Jared Tennis.
And don't forget the other side of the ball, too. Defensively, they gave up. The Packers didn't have to have a lot of yards. Like, Jordan Love didn't have to have 385 yards. They just gave up big plays. Simple as that. Boom, boom,
so what do you blame
touchdown.
that on?
Boom. Both of the coordinators are gone, and they're adjusting. And you started off with a really good team. At the end of the season, could be potentially a great team. So they didn't get it easy when we got to go play the Panthers and, get our feet wet and kind of find our footing. Y'all went to a hostile place that has Super Bowl aspirations, a team that's tired of losing to y'all, got a new player, got some juice, and got Smizacked.
He only had 30 snaps. That shouldn't have been the reason.
No, the juice. I'm talking about the city, the team.
I get that, but I'm just saying, like, he didn't have that. He had big plays. He had a sack late in the game.
You know what he had, though? He had plays when we were talking about this on Friday. If you look at Jared Goff's interception, that was Micah Parsons. He blew through the line, got in Jared's face, Jared Goff threw it like that, interception. Micah Parsons has a luxury. This is what I was saying. He has the luxury of being a Von Miller. You just add me. You already got Aaron Donald. You already got players and everything. The offense should be good. Let me just go make 3-4 special plays a game. That's all I got to do. And Micah is in that. He doesn't have to be, even Reggie White. I know everybody keep comparing to Reggie White. So they got to settle down with the Reggie White.
So all these things you talk about.
All that being said,
you still got them in the Super Bowl. You still think you? No,
I'm not going to change my pick.
No, I know you're not. But I'm just saying when you look at the
overly and this is being sincere.
Okay,
I think you saw offensive defensive coordinator in their first game against a really good team, great team. They have to get their footing. They have to go. Oh shoot! Welcome to the NFL.
Well, but that's the tough part, and a lot of people. Here's why a lot of people are also down on the Lions. Hiring inside the building, hiring people who without going out and going to get the best offensive coordinator available. You're the Lions. You're supposed to be making this run. Here's your window of opportunity. It's nice to promote within, but why aren't you saying, no, who's the best offensive coordinator out there? Who's the best defensive coordinator?
Ben Johnson.
Okay, who's out there? Like, there's somebody else out there who's from there. The Lions just decided, he's in the office next door. Let's just get this guy.
Well, I will hope this.
And it doesn't mean that it can't work out, but it also means that it might not work out, and there was somebody better with more experience who could have come in, because you can't. Here's the problem with the Lions. You don't have time. As you talk about the adjustment, like a window closes pretty quick. This is year 3. You've already squandered 2 of them. No, I'm talking about where
you're supposed to be really good.
Right? They've already squandered, too.
I just think what we saw was the worst version of them. I'd expect that offense to still – they're too talented on offense to not get it back. Do they have to be the number one offense like they were, number one point differential like they were last year as well? No, they don't have to be that, but they're absolutely going to be able to find their footing. They have too much talent, and I expect them to be more, if anything, also be tougher because that's what they have also been throughout this tenure with Dan Campbell. So to me, the Packers came out and showed why we got our whole list of players, who everybody picked. Handful of people here picked the Packers to win it. I see. They absolutely came out and looked good. So you looked at that
game and looked at the Packers. That's what you came away with, not how poorly the Lions played?
No, I looked at the Packers as being special. I looked at the Lions as saying, y'all got smacked up by a team who y'all better respect and take serious in this division because they're trying to take this division and go in the postseason. But I also looked at the Lions and said, y'all play scared, y'all play conservatively, and the defense came in. They came in feeling themselves, Rob. They came in. We've been controlling y'all, controlling the division. We smacking y'all up. We got this. They came in smelling themselves. Defense getting wide receivers wide open.
Here's what you should be afraid of, really. Jared Goff has had 5 different play callers in his NFL career. Under 3, not named Sean McVay or Ben Johnson. You ready for his record?
What is it?
3-21-1. Those are the 3. Those are the other 3 guys. So when he was with Sean McVay and with Ben Johnson, those guys were able to get the best out of Jared Goff. There's been a lot of bad Jared Goff football.
I'll tell you why I'm not worried about that, though.
A lot. And we saw a little bit of that yesterday.
I'll tell you why I'm not worried about that. That was the beginning of when he got there with Detroit and then the Dan Campbell. They didn't have an ethos. They didn't have a thing that they do. They didn't have the talent around them. They had all these guys are young. Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery kind of, we'll call him a veteran. But all of these guys are younger. They had to grow. Now they have the continuity. They have the offense. They have the talent. They have who we are through Dan Campbell. So that doesn't apply to me as much as it would if Dan Campbell's first year, offensive coordinator first year, Jared Goff just got to Detroit. I'd be worried about that. I'm not. I would actually be disappointed if what we saw yesterday is replicated next week and the next week and next week because that just doesn't make sense. They're too good. They're too talented. You've had the same continuity from GM to coach to quarterback.
Teams fall off,
That
teams
happens.
fall off.
But I don't expect them to fall off.
I
don't expect them to go from 15-2 to, 4-13.
Nobody's saying 4. They don't have to go 4-13. They can win 10 games and not make the playoffs. That's what could happen.
I'm saying
10-7.
Yeah,
they can win 10 games and not make the playoffs.
Still to make the playoffs.
Okay, but that's all I'm saying. It's
true.
Not 4. It's not so I'm not sitting here going they're only going to win 4 games. They can win 10 games and not make the playoffs.
I get you.
That's what
I still expect that team, that offense to get better, that defense to get better, and for them to make the postseason. I still stand on that.